And welcome back to the Kingdom Hearts 2 Final Mix Critical Mode Any% Speedrun tutorial. In this episode, we have finally made it back to Twilight Town for our third visit here. And this visit actually only has 2 fights, but they are prone to a fair amount of RNG due to a couple of extra party members that we have here. So without further ado, let's get into it. So first off, when we land in Twilight Town, got a little bit of movement. Gonna hop on this skateboard right here immediately, and then we're going to quickly head towards the underground area and hop on another skateboard. Or fail to hop on the skateboard, whatever you'd like. And then we're just going to quick run on over to the forest with the intention of going to the mansion. Right there, I just queued up Genie. Genie is the summon that we're going to be using in the first fight, where Mickey is our party member and we have to kill a bunch of nobodies. We're going to be summoning him in the woods right now. This summon here is actually very important because it's not just preparing yourself to use Genie in the next fight. It's also helping us live. So when we come into the woods, a sniper spawns, and if he shoots you, it's a one-shot and you die. So you don't want to die to it. So we are going to summon Genie after this quick run when we land, so that when the sniper's shot tries to hit us, we are invulnerable. So it goes right through. And now we're gonna quick run on over to following this path towards the mansion. And don't miss any of your quick runs. Try to either have good timing here or just mash on in this case, because there's going to be another sniper shot that tries to hit you, and if you kind of mess up any of your quick runs, there's a chance it might hit you and kill you, which is frustrating. So don't die there. But we want to make sure Genie is on Master Genie. So also, as we're quick running over here, we want to change his form, move him to Master Genie, so that we are ready immediately for this fight. So this fight with Mickey is pretty straightforward. The only wrench that gets thrown into it is Mickey himself. We would like this fight a heck of a lot more if he was not involved at all, but unfortunately he is, so we have to look out for him. In this first wave, we've got 3 Dusks. Mickey won't be any issue here yet. So what we're going to immediately do is jump backwards, cast a magnet, and immediately go into Master Genie. Master Genie Magnet has a really great interaction. It's constantly hitting the Dusks, knocking them in and out of the magnet, as we've seen with Trinity Limit and a lot of other things throughout this run. But it's actually going to be able to kill like every wave of enemies just on its own. So let's see what that looks like first. So jump backwards, magnet, Master Genie, takes them all out. Now we're going to get the next wave of Dusks that spawn in. They kind of get wrapped up in Master Genie's like inherent magnet a little bit. So what we want to do is get ourselves in a position so that we are away from the Dusks and our auto target is not targeting any of them. Because we want to be able to cast a magnet right above us, not onto any of the enemies. So I am like scouting, seeing where the enemies are. I notice they're behind me, so I'm going to head this way. The target reticle is right here, so I don't want to cast it yet. I want to make sure they're out of the way. But I'm going to go over here. I'm going to jump again and then magnet. Now is when you need to start looking out for Mickey. His attacks are usually not a big deal, but when he does one of his finishers, which is when he says like, ha, basically, that's when you want to look out. Because when he does that, he will knock away the enemies and they won't get caught by your magnet. So you really got to be listening to what he's doing. And if he does a ha before you are ready to, or before you cast your magnet Master Genie, wait for him to finish that. Because if you cast it while he's hitting them away, those enemies will not get sucked into the magnet Master Genie and the fight's going to be in a lot of trouble. So here he wasn't doing it, so I was able to just cast the magnet Master Genie, bring them all in and kill him. Or he says ha or now or pow or something like that. But that's like the finisher indicator. Next wave, we're going to be doing this magnet Master Genie for every single wave of enemies here. This next wave, bunch of creepers, same thing. Want to get out of the way, make sure that your auto target is not targeted onto anything, so the magnet is right on top of you. So I'm going to quick run over here to get into position to do that. Still haven't heard any finishers from Mickey, so we're fine. In this last wave here, now we want to use the bash because there will usually be a creeper left over that we need to kill with it, which is the case here. It just died, so now my bashes are going to come in and start hitting the samurai that are spawning on the ground. This is a good thing, mostly. That'll stop them from kind of like swaying around before they start their first attack. What we want to do now, where previously we were trying to get out of the way Magnet Master Genie, now we want to be right on top of these samurai and use the Magnet Master Genie. So I'm going to, once the limit has finished, I'm going to go get on top of them and use it. So I've already targeted on this guy, so I'm ready. And I was just waiting right there to see what Mickey was going to do. Because if Mickey was going to do a finisher, I might have been in trouble. And honestly, sometimes he just does and will knock the samurai completely apart, and you're just in trouble, and there's really not much you can do about it. Again, Mickey's an asshole in this fight, so we're really just trying to deal with him as much as possible. But again, trying to get right on top of this guy, Magnet Master Genie. And there, he did his now, but fortunately they were already in the magnet and I was already hitting him, so he didn't knock him away. He actually just did extra damage and killed one of them, which is lucky. Now these next samurai are spawning right into the magnet and getting hit by it. And I target onto this guy who's already on the ground. There's this guy who's falling. I want to go after this guy who's on the ground. That's going to improve my positioning. I'm going to do one final Magnet Master Genie, which will use up the rest of my MP. And you're going to see I get lucky and kill them all. That's not necessarily guaranteed that it's going to finish off cleanly like that. You might have one samurai left who has like half health. In that case, just use the second part of Genie and then, you know, go try to finish him off with physical combos. Not any specific strategy at that point. It's just kill the enemies, basically. And that's kind of what happens if anything goes wrong here and you're out of MP. It's time to just go do dumb ground combos on the samurai to deal with them. But that's the Mickey fight. It's really not that complicated. The only hard part is really positioning yourself, being aware of Mickey, and then getting on top of the samurai when they're moving around. That's kind of hard to position yourself like right on top of them to do the magnet. But with some practice, you'll get used to it. An aerial spiral at times to get into position might be helpful, so you can mess around with that if you're having some better luck with that. But I think that's all there is for the Mickey fight, so now we will make our way over to the final fight in TT3, which is the fight against the Nobodies with Axel. Just by the way, it doesn't matter if you lose Genie here. Like, I still have him, but if he goes away, it's not a big deal. We don't need our drive at this point. And we'll quickly be getting it back. Just doing the movement through the library, down to the basement. Obviously want to select sea salt ice cream and not liver pepper. Touch the beam. And keep moving forward until we get into the fight. So there's a quick fight before Axel with a bunch of dusks here. This one is pretty simple. All we're going to do is immediately attack, which will do a vicinity break. Let the enemies come in. We're going to reflect them. Magnet. Finishing leap. Then I lock on to one of them. Doesn't matter which one, but I pick one of them so that I magnet. And now I'm going to do a Trinity limit major drive. Shooting them while they're in the magnet, and that'll be enough to kill them. Pretty quick, pretty easy fight. Not too much additional to talk about there. I don't really feel like there's too much that can go wrong, so hopefully that wasn't too complicated for you. But with that out of the way, we're going to close out of this menu and get into Axel. So this fight can be really shitty because Axel can do a bunch of different attacks. The attacks that we want him to do are the attacks where he doesn't teleport away. So either doing his little swings or doing his chakram spin. The ones where he teleports away and like dives down or slides through, those are rough. Particularly the slide through run. That one is really, really annoying to deal with. But regardless of what he does, we're going to handle the fight the exact same way. But we're just going to be paying attention to him. So we are kind of ready to react if he tries to ruin our life. Open the fight with a vicinity break. Same thing as the previous fight. And then, unlike every other fight, the enemies are going to try to attack Axel at all times, even though you're the one provoking them. So when I do the vicinity break in a normal fight, they'd come and attack me, but this time they're going to come and attack Axel. So after I do the vicinity break, I'm going to head towards Axel and then try to reflect magnet finishing leap the enemies. In this example, he just does a swing, so I know he's right there, so I can just walk over to him and reflect magnet finishing leap, and it's pretty easy. But in other cases, he might do his teleport slide through or teleport slam down, and then it's a little bit harder to go to him to position yourself. But you'll just have to kind of learn where he's going to position himself and just follow where he is and do your best to get the reflect magnet finishing leap on the dusks, hoping to catch all of them if possible, but sometimes it's impossible. But either way, moving on here. Reflect, magnet, finishing leap. Axel there did his chakram attacks, and when he does the chakram attack within the magnet, it's super good and kills a lot of enemies, so we like that. That is what we want him to do. It's very helpful when he does that. It speeds up the fight a lot. But even if he doesn't, we are able to get through the fight no problem. I got a little 60 FPS there, so my positioning wasn't great, so I had to run back into the magnet to get where I wanted to be. You see I get pushed away by Axel there. Very annoying. But regardless, normally I would just land and then go into a fire and then another magnet finishing leap. But this time I had to run back, and then I'm gonna do the same thing. Fire, magnet finishing leap. Fire, magnet finishing leap. And then now some of the assassins have spawned, and the thing about assassins is when they come out of a magnet, they come out into their dive animation, which has a hitbox. So every time the magnet ends, we want to reflect and then do another magnet finishing leap. That reflect is going to be hitting all the enemies within the magnet when it gets provoked by the assassins diving out, and we're just going to be able to constantly do this loop like that and take care of all the enemies. Maybe Axel has used his chakrams to help us out make it faster, but it's really mostly going to be reflect, magnet, finishing leap over and over and over. But you'll notice here that I'm about to run out of MP. When I reflect, magnet, finishing leap, I'm going to run out of MP. To get my MP back, I'm going to go into limit form. So I'm going to reflect, magnet, finishing leap, limit form. You can do 1 or 2 hits. You have time to do that. We're going to land and immediately revert, but you're not able to revert immediately. It takes a little bit of loading for you to be allowed to revert. So we're going to land, kind of get ourselves out of the way, because if we're too close to Axel, we might be at a little bit of risk of some of these assassins immediately coming out and doing their suicide attack. And that is a one-shot on us, so we really want to avoid that. Basically, all the assassins' attacks are one-shots. They're suicide, they're stab. So this fight is very dangerous. And that's why you want to always be doing your best to pay attention. But anyways, so I landed. I'm going to revert here. And then I'm going to do my best to position a magnet, again, that collects all the enemies if possible. And basically the moment I revert, I want to be trying to do that magnet so we can get ourselves back in that loop again. Magnet, finishing leap, then I'll reflect, magnet, finishing leap, and continue that until the end of the fight. Reflect, magnet, finishing leap. See Axel do an attack there, trying to ruin our day a little bit. This guy got knocked out, so I'm a little concerned about that, but fortunately my next reflect, magnet, finishing leap will suck him back in. And I went into it a little bit early, but basically once you've depleted your MP the next time, then you finish off the enemies with limit form. So preferably you'll do a magnet, finishing leap, go into limit form, and then go ahead and do Ragnarok, or Infinity. That'll be your best bet for trying to finish off the rest of the enemies. Right now there's only one enemy that's left in the magnet, so I am going to kill him immediately with that. And that's the fight. I'm going to go ahead and show that in fast motion again. It is pretty simple in what you're doing, but there is a lot of small things to pay attention to and a lot of things that can easily go wrong and get you killed. So this is a fight that requires a lot of practice, a lot of small adjustments, toying with it to hopefully get it as smooth as possible. But again, let's watch it all the way through and I'll narrate through what we're doing. So again, opening up with vicinity break, heading to Axel, reflect, magnet, finishing leap, land, fire, magnet, finishing leap, reflect, magnet, finishing leap, going into limit form, do a hit or two, land, get your magnet loop going again, reflect, magnet, finishing leap, reflect, magnet, finishing leap, just finishing it off with the limit form combo. And that's the end of TT3. You might, when you see other people do this, throw in an aerial spiral after the magnet, which does help you out do a little bit more damage, but I find it's a little bit more trouble than it's worth. Usually just reflect, magnet, finishing leap is enough damage to get through the fight, and when you do that, you open yourself up to getting 60 FPS, maybe Sora gets thrown out of the magnet, maybe you might mistime it and your positioning gets off, so I don't think it's worth doing. That's why I didn't do it in this video and in this example. We do this loop this very specific way, not just because it's the best damage, but because, and it's not perfect, it's not 100% guaranteed, but Axel tends to space his attacks out very specifically. And essentially, we want to make sure that there's always a magnet out whenever he's attacking. Because if there's not a magnet out when he's attacking, like if we're in the middle of the reflect before he, if we're in the middle of the reflect while he's attacking, he's going to knock all the enemies away, and it's just going to become a dangerous mess. So this sequence of moves helps us to make sure that the magnet is always out while Axel is attacking. It's not perfect, but it does a pretty good job of it. So hopefully this explanation was helpful for you in this fight and as well as in the Mickey fight. That is the entirety of TT3, and now we've made it to the world it never was. So look forward to those videos coming up next, and I will see you there.